My ex moved into my house with my sister's key and almost burned it down. When I called the police, my family turned on me. I didn't back down. My ex-boyfriend, Devon, was living in my house for 3 weeks before I even knew. And the only reason I found out is because he almost burned the whole place down trying to cook meth in my kitchen at 2 in the morning. I need to back up. I'm Jess. I'm 27 now, but this started when I was 24 and stupid enough to think my family actually gave a shit about me. I bought my house in March 2021 with money I'd been saving since I was 16. Every birthday, every Christmas, every summer job, every tax return, it all went into my house fund. My parents thought I was insane. "You're too young to buy a house, Jessica. You should be traveling, having fun, living your life." But I wanted stability. I wanted something that was mine. The house was a foreclosure in a decent neighborhood in Tennessee, 3-bed, 2-bath, needed work but had good bones. I paid $167,000 for it, which cleaned out my savings, but I got a mortgage I could actually afford on my medical billing salary. I was so proud I cried at the closing. My family's reaction, lukewarm at best. My mom, Susan, said, "Well, that's a lot of responsibility for someone your age." My dad, Paul, said, "Hope you know what you're getting into." My older sister, Lindsay, who was 29 at the time, said, "Must be nice to have that kind of money lying around," which was rich coming from someone who'd blown through 3 cars and 2 apartments because she couldn't hold down a job. But whatever, it was MY house. I spent 6 months fixing it up, painting, replacing fixtures, redoing the bathroom tile myself from YouTube videos. I was working full-time and renovating on weekends. It was exhausting and amazing. That's when I started dating Devon. I met him in July 2021 at a friend's barbecue. He was 29, worked in HVAC, seemed normal enough. Cute smile made me laugh, didn't immediately give off psycho vibes. We dated for about 8 months, and honestly, it was fine. Not earth-shattering, but fine. He'd come over to my place a lot because he lived with 2 roommates in a shitty apartment across town. He never had a key to my house. That's important. I never gave him a key. Things started getting weird around February 2022. He got fired from his HVAC job for, according to him, bullshit reasons, but I later found out it was because he failed a random drug test. He started asking to stay at my place more. Then he started asking for money. Small amounts at first, $1.40 for gas, $60 for his phone bill. I'm not completely stupid, so I smelled the pattern forming. I broke up with him in March 2022, exactly 1 year after I'd bought my house. He did not take it well, showed up at my work twice. Called me 37 times in 1 day. Yes, I counted. Sent me these long, rambling texts about how I owed him because he'd helped me with my house, which was insane because the most he'd ever done was hand me a paintbrush once. I blocked him everywhere. He finally seemed to get the message after I threatened to file a restraining order. By mid-April, he'd stopped trying to contact me. I thought it was over. Here's where my sister, Lindsay, comes in. Lindsay had always been the golden child despite being a complete disaster. She dropped out of college twice, couldn't keep a job longer than 4 months, had gotten a DUI in 2019 that my parents paid $8,000 to lawyer away. But somehow I was always the one who was difficult or cold, because I didn't want to loan her money or let her crash at my place whenever her latest situation imploded. In May 2022, about a month after Devon stopped harassing me, Lindsay started asking me for a spare key to my house. Her reasoning: what if there's an emergency and you're not home? What if you lock yourself out? What if something happens and someone needs to get in? I said no multiple times. She kept pushing. "You're being paranoid, Jess. I'm your sister. Don't you trust me?" My mom got involved. "Jessica, just give Lindsay a key. It's not a big deal. Family should have access in case of emergency." I caved. God, I'm such an idiot. I gave Lindsay a spare key in late May 2022 with explicit instructions. "This is for emergencies only. Do not go to my house without telling me. Do not give this key to anyone else." She promised. Of course, Jess, I would never. Fast forward to September 2022. I worked long hours in medical billing, usually 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., sometimes later if we were backed up. My house was empty during the day. I didn't have a dog, didn't have cameras. I know hindsight is 2020. I started noticing weird things in early September. Small things. A glass in the sink I didn't remember using. The thermostat set to a different temperature. One of my kitchen chairs pulled out. At first, I thought I was losing my mind. Maybe I was tired and forgot I'd done these things. Then my electric bill for August came. It was $340. My normal bill was around $150. I called the power company thinking there was a mistake. They said no mistake. My usage had nearly doubled. I started paying more attention, more dishes in the sink, my milk running out faster, a wet towel in the bathroom I definitely didn't use, the smell of cigarette smoke in my living room even though I don't smoke. Someone was in my house. I'm not exaggerating when I say my skin was crawling. I started coming home on my lunch breaks to check. Everything seemed fine, but the feeling wouldn't go away. I checked all my windows locked, all my doors locked. I'd only given a spare key to Lindsay, and surely she wouldn't. On September 19, 2022, I decided to come home sick from work at 11 a.m. I told my supervisor I had a migraine, which wasn't even a lie because the stress was killing me. I pulled into my driveway and saw a car I didn't recognize parked on the street in front of my house. A beat-up 2004 Honda Civic, dark green. My heart was pounding as I unlocked my front door. Music was playing inside, rap music loud from my living room. I walked in and Devon was on my couch. My couch, in my house, eating a bowl of my cereal, watching my TV like he fucking lived there. I completely froze. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. He looked up and had the audacity to look annoyed. "What are you doing home?" Not "sorry for breaking in," not "I can explain." Just "what are you doing home?" like I was the one in the wrong place. I found my voice. "What the fuck are you doing in my house?" He set the cereal bowl down slowly. "Lindsay said I could stay here for a while, said you wouldn't mind." I actually laughed, like a crazy person I laughed. "Lindsay said what?" "She gave me a key last month, said you knew about it." I pulled out my phone, hands shaking. "Get out right now, or I'm calling the police." He stood up and he was bigger than me, taller, and something in his eyes made me take a step back. "You're being dramatic, Jess. It's not a big deal. I just needed a place to crash for a bit." "Get out." "Come on, don't be like this. We can talk about." I called 911. He grabbed his keys and left before the police arrived, but not before saying, "You're going to regret this." The police came, I filed a report, explained the situation. They said since he'd left and I had no proof he'd been staying there, he'd taken his stuff with him. There wasn't much they could do immediately, but I had a documented report now. They suggested I change my locks immediately, which I did that same day. Cost me $220 I didn't have in my budget. Then I called Lindsay. She answered on the fourth ring. "Hey, what's up?" "What's up, what's up? You gave Devon my spare key." Silence, then, "Jess, calm down." "Calm down? He's been living in my house. For how long, Lindsay? How long has he been there?" "It was only supposed to be for a few days." "How long?" Maybe 3 weeks." I actually saw red. 3 weeks, 3 weeks. You gave my ex-boyfriend, who I have blocked, a key to my house and let him squat there for 3 weeks. He was in a bad situation, Jess. He had nowhere to go. I was trying to help him. By letting him break into my house? Are you insane? He didn't break in, I gave him access. And you have plenty of space. It's not like you're even there during the day. I hung up on her. She called back immediately. I declined. She called 8 more times. I declined all of them. Then my mom called. "Jessica Marie, you need to calm down." Lindsay explained everything. "Mom, she let my ex-boyfriend secretly live in my house for 3 weeks. She was trying to help someone in need. You're being selfish." I actually pulled the phone away from my ear and stared at it. "I'm being selfish? This is my house, that I bought, that I pay the mortgage on, and she gave a key to someone who's been harassing me. Devon is going through a hard time. He lost his job. Lindsay was trying to be compassionate. Then she should have let him stay at her place. You know she doesn't have room. Because she's still living in her studio apartment that you pay half the rent on. But somehow my 3-bedroom house is community property." My mom's voice got cold. "I think you need to examine why you're so angry about someone trying to help a person in crisis. This isn't like you, Jessica." No, this was like me. Finally standing up for myself was like me. "I'm changing the subject. Don't give Lindsay any more of my spare keys." I hung up. Lindsay tried coming to my house that night. I didn't open the door. She banged on it for 10 minutes, yelling about how I was being ridiculous and she was going to tell everyone what a selfish bitch I was. I went to my bedroom, put in headphones, and tried not to cry. Over the next few days, the family group chat exploded. Lindsay was telling everyone that I'd kicked Devon out onto the street and refused to help someone going through a rough time. My Aunt Karen said I should be ashamed. My cousin Brittany said I'd always been stuck up about my house. My dad stayed silent, which somehow felt worse than everyone else's attacks. I muted the group chat. For a week, things were tense but stable. I changed my locks. I didn't answer calls from family. I focused on work and my house and tried to pretend my family hadn't just shown me exactly how little they respected me. Then September 27, 2022, at 2:17 a.m., my neighbor Mr. Chen called me. "Jess, there's smoke coming from your house." I called 911. I lived 15 minutes away at my friend Amber's place, where I'd been staying because I was too freaked out to sleep in my own house yet. I broke every traffic law getting there. 3 fire trucks were in front of my house. Smoke was pouring from my kitchen window. Firefighters were inside. Mr. Chen was standing in his yard in his bathrobe. "I saw the smoke about 20 minutes ago. I'm sorry, I should have noticed sooner." "It's not your fault, thank you for calling." A police car pulled up, then another. A firefighter came out. "You the homeowner?" "Yes, what happened?" "Looks like someone was cooking something on your stove and left it unattended. There's significant damage to the kitchen. We got it under control, but—" He looked uncomfortable. "There's someone inside, passed out in the back bedroom. Officers are dealing with it now." My stomach dropped. "Who?" "You'll need to talk to the officers." 2 cops brought Devon out in handcuffs. He was barely conscious, stumbling, mumbling incoherently. The smell coming off him was chemical and wrong. One officer approached me. "Ma'am, is this your residence?" "Yes." "Do you know this individual?" "He's my ex-boyfriend. I filed a report a week ago because he was trespassing. I changed my locks. I have no idea how he got back in." The officer's expression shifted. "We found drug paraphernalia in the kitchen. Looks like he was attempting to manufacture methamphetamine. That's what caused the fire. He left a hot plate running with chemicals on it and passed out." I physically staggered. Amber caught my arm. "Meth, he was making meth in my house." "The fire marshal and our detective unit will need to investigate, but yes, that appears to be the situation." They arrested Devon on the spot. Breaking and entering, possession of controlled substances with intent to manufacture, arson, criminal mischief. The list went on. I was standing in my yard at 3 a.m., watching firefighters ventilate my house, my kitchen destroyed, my home contaminated with meth residue, and all I could think was, how did he get back in? I'd changed the locks. I'd only had 2 keys made, one for me, one hidden in my car in case of emergency. "Unless—" "Did you find any keys on him?" I asked the officer. He checked his evidence bag. "Yes, ma'am, house key, car key, and what looks like another house key." "Can I see the house key?" He held up the bag. It was a key with a purple cap on it. I'd put purple caps on the keys I'd made for Lindsay. My sister had given Devon another key, even after everything. I called Lindsay at 3:30 a.m. She answered groggy. "Jess, what?" "Did you give Devon another key to my house?" Silence. "Lindsay, answer me. Did you give him another key after I explicitly told you he'd been trespassing?" "He said he left some of his stuff there and just needed to grab it." I hung up. I sat down on my driveway and I cried. Not sad crying, angry crying, the kind where you're so furious you can't even speak. The fire marshal said my house was uninhabitable until it could be professionally cleaned and decontaminated because of the meth. The kitchen was destroyed. My homeowner's insurance was going to fight me on whether they'd cover meth contamination. I was looking at potentially $40,000, in damages and cleaning costs. I pressed charges against Devon for everything. The DA's office was thrilled. They had him dead to rights. But I also filed a police report naming Lindsay as an accessory. She'd given him keys to my property twice, knowing he was trespassing, knowing I'd filed a police report. The officer who took my statement said they'd investigate. My phone started ringing at 6 a.m. My mom. "Jessica, the police came to Lindsay's apartment. What did you do? I told them the truth. She gave Devon keys to my house twice, which allowed him to break in and nearly burn my house down making meth. You got your own sister arrested. She's not arrested. They're investigating, and yes, I reported her because she committed a crime. This is insane. You're destroying this family over a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? Mom, my house is uninhabitable. My kitchen is destroyed. There's meth contamination. I'm looking at $60,000 in damages because Lindsay gave my abusive ex-boyfriend keys to my house twice. He's not abusive. Stop being dramatic. He was making meth in my kitchen. He could have burned down the entire block. Mr. Chen is 74 years old and lives alone next door. What if the fire had spread? What if someone died? But they didn't. Get off my phone, Mom. I hung up. The family group chat was a war zone. Lindsay was sending screenshots of her conversation with the police, crying about how her own sister had thrown her under the bus. My Aunt Karen was calling me evil. My cousin Brittany started a separate group chat without me to discuss how to handle the Jessica situation. My dad finally called me. Jess, we need to talk. Do we? This has gone too far. You need to drop the charges against Lindsay. She facilitated a crime, multiple crimes. She made a mistake. No, Dad, a mistake is forgetting to lock the door. A mistake is accidentally giving someone the wrong key. This was deliberate. She gave Devon a key in May. Then when I changed my locks and filed a police report, she gave him another key. That's not a mistake, that's a pattern. She's your sister. And I'm her sister. Did she think about that when she was helping my ex break into my house? Silence. I have to go, Dad. I have to figure out where I'm going to live while my house is professionally decontaminated from meth residue. I stayed with Amber for 3 weeks while my house was assessed. The estimate came back, $54,000 in damages and decontamination. My insurance company tried to deny the claim, saying meth contamination wasn't covered. I hired a lawyer. It was a nightmare. Devon was sitting in jail on $100,000 bond he couldn't pay. His public defender contacted me asking if I'd be willing to testify. I said absolutely. Lindsay was charged as an accessory after the police investigation confirmed she'd given Devon the second key after I'd filed the trespassing report and explicitly told her what he'd done. It was a misdemeanor, but it was still charges. My family lost their minds. My mom showed up at Amber's apartment in October, demanding to talk to me. Amber tried to turn her away, but I said it was fine. You're destroying your sister's life, my mom said the second I opened the door. Come in, Mom. Let's have this conversation properly. She came in, she looked tired, older. Lindsay could go to jail because of you. Lindsay could go to jail because of Lindsay. She made choices. She has to deal with the consequences. She was trying to help someone. She was enabling my abuser. Devon isn't your abuser. You dated for 8 months. He harassed me after I broke up with him. He trespassed in my home. He was making meth in my kitchen. What part of that sounds like someone Lindsay should have been helping? My mom sat down heavily. He told Lindsay he just needed a place to get back on his feet. And she believed him over me, her sister, when I explicitly told her what he'd done. She felt sorry for him. She should have felt sorry for me. I'm the one dealing with a destroyed house and a massive debt because of her choices. My mom looked at me with something that might have been disappointment or might have been realization. When did you become so hard? When I realized no one in this family actually gave a shit about me unless I was being convenient. She left without another word. The legal process dragged on for months. Devon's trial was set for March 2023. Lindsay's court date was in February. My insurance company finally agreed to cover most of the damages after my lawyer threatened to sue them. I was still out $12,000 after deductible and the stuff they wouldn't cover, but it was better than 60 grand. In December 2022, I filed for a restraining order against both Devon and Lindsay. Devon's was approved immediately given his charges. Lindsay's was more complicated. The hearing was January 9, 2023. My entire family showed up. Mom, Dad, Aunt Karen, Uncle Steve, cousin Brittany, even my grandma who I hadn't seen in 2 years. They sat on Lindsay's side of the courtroom like this, was a wedding. My lawyer, Patricia, was a tiny woman in her 50s who took absolutely zero shit. She'd helped me document everything. The timeline, the police reports, the fire marshal's report, text messages, phone records, everything. The judge was a woman in her 60s named Judge Corrigan, who looked like she'd heard every excuse in the world and believed none of them. Patricia presented our case. The key events: Lindsay receiving the spare key in May, Devon trespassing in September, my police report, Lindsay giving Devon a second key after knowing about the trespassing, the fire and meth lab, the damages. Lindsay's lawyer argued that Lindsay had been manipulated by Devon, that she didn't know he was making meth, that she thought she was helping someone in crisis. Then Patricia dropped the bomb. Your Honor, I'd like to submit phone records showing text message exchanges between Lindsay Harper and Devon Matthews from August through September 2022. The judge allowed it. Patricia read them aloud. August 12, Lindsay to Devon. Jess is at work until 5 every day. You should have the place to yourself all day. August 19, Devon to Lindsay. She almost caught me yesterday. I think she's suspicious. Lindsay to Devon. Just be more careful, don't leave dishes out. September 3, Devon to Lindsay. I need to stay longer, probably another month. Lindsay to Devon. She's starting to notice things. Devon to Lindsay. You promised you'd help me, don't back out now. September 15, Lindsay to Devon. She's coming home randomly now, you need to be more careful. Devon to Lindsay. Maybe you should talk to her, convince her to let me stay officially. September 20, the day after I kicked him out, Devon to Lindsay. She called the fucking cops, I need another key. Lindsay to Devon. She changed the locks. Devon to Lindsay. Can you get another one? Lindsay to Devon. This is getting crazy. Devon to Lindsay. Please, I have nowhere else to go, just one more key. I promise I'll just get my stuff and leave. Lindsay to Devon. Fine, but this is the last time. September 22, Lindsay to Devon. I got you a key. Meet me at Starbucks on Main. The courtroom was dead silent. My mom's face was white. Patricia continued. Your Honor, these messages clearly show that Lindsay Harper was not only aware of Devon Matthews' unauthorized presence in Ms. Harper's home, but actively facilitated it, coached him on how to avoid detection, and provided him with a second key even after being informed of the trespassing and police report. Judge Corrigan looked at Lindsay. Ms. Harper, did you send these messages? Lindsay was crying. He said he was going to hurt himself if I didn't help him. I was trying to save his life. Did he threaten to hurt himself in any of these messages? Not in writing, but he told me. The messages entered into evidence show no indication of suicidal ideation. What they show is you actively conspiring to help someone trespass in your sister's home, coaching him to avoid detection, and providing him access after being explicitly told by your sister that he was not welcome. I didn't know he was going to make meth. Perhaps not, but you knew he was trespassing. You knew your sister had filed a police report. You knew she'd changed her locks specifically to keep him out, and you gave him a key anyway. Judge Corrigan looked down at her paperwork. Restraining order granted. Lindsay Harper is to have no contact with Jessica Harper for a period of 3 years. She is not to come within 500 feet of Ms. Harper's residence or workplace. My family erupted. My mom stood up shouting about how this was insane. Aunt Karen called me a vindictive bitch. The bailiff had to restore order. Outside the courtroom, my dad finally approached me. You got what you wanted, he said quietly. I didn't want any of this, Dad. I wanted my family to give a shit about me. I wanted someone to be on my side for once. Lindsay made mistakes, but she's still your sister. And I'm still her sister, but you don't see her here apologizing, do you? He didn't have an answer for that. I walked away. Lindsay's criminal case was resolved in February 2023. She pled guilty to criminal facilitation and got 2 years probation, a $2,500 fine, and community service. No jail time, which honestly felt like she got off easy. Devon's trial was in March. He took a plea deal, 5 years in prison, 3 years probation after release. The DA said he could have gotten more, but they wanted to avoid a trial. My house was finally cleared for occupancy in late February 2023. The insurance money covered most of the repairs. I'd had to take out a small personal loan for the rest, but I was managing. I moved back in March 2023. It didn't feel like home anymore. I repainted the entire kitchen, replaced all the appliances, got new furniture for the bedroom Devon had been sleeping in. But I couldn't shake the feeling of violation. Someone had been in my space, living in my house without my knowledge, using my things, sleeping in my bed. I installed a security system, 8 cameras covering every angle of the house, inside and out, motion sensors, smart locks. The whole thing cost me $2,800 I didn't have, but I needed it to feel safe. My family didn't speak to me for months. The group chat stayed quiet. No one called, no one texted. It was like I didn't exist. Which was fine, I was done. Then in July 2023, my grandma died. She'd had a stroke in late June and passed away 2 weeks later. My mom called to tell me about the funeral. It's on Saturday at 2 p.m. I assume you'll be there. Is Lindsay going to be there? Of course she is. It's her grandmother, too. Then I can't come. I have a restraining order. Jessica, this is your grandmother's funeral. I understand that, but I legally cannot be within 500 feet of Lindsay for another 2 years. If she's there, I can't be. My mom was silent for a long moment. You'd really skip your own grandmother's funeral over this. I'd really honor a legal court order, yes. You're unbelievable. She hung up. I didn't go to the funeral. I visited my grandma's grave a week later alone and said my goodbyes privately. My Aunt Karen sent me a Facebook message calling me a disgrace to the family. I blocked her. Life went on. I threw myself into work, got a promotion in August 2023, started dating again in September very casually, went to therapy to deal with the trust issues and family trauma. Slowly, my house started feeling like mine again. In November 2023, my dad came by. I saw him on my security camera and almost didn't answer, but something made me open the door. Hey, Jess. Hi, Dad. Can I come in? I let him in. We sat in my living room, the one I'd repainted 3 times trying to make it feel clean. Your mom and I are getting divorced, he said. I wasn't expecting that. What? The whole situation with you and Lindsay? It made me see things differently. How your mom always excused Lindsay's behavior, how she expected you to just take it. How when you finally stood up for yourself, she turned on you. He looked older, tired. I should have stood up for you. I should have stopped it. I didn't. I'm sorry. I felt tears starting but pushed them back. Why now? Because I've spent the last year watching your mom rewrite history. In her version, you're the villain who destroyed the family over nothing. Lindsay is the victim. Devon was just troubled, and everyone believes it because it's easier than admitting what really happened. Which is that Lindsay helped someone trespass in your home, repeatedly, knowing it was wrong. That she prioritized a manipulative ex-boyfriend over her own sister. That she nearly got you killed or ruined financially, and instead of apologizing, she played victim. I started crying then, actual crying, because in 14 months, those were the first words of validation I'd heard from anyone in my family. My dad hugged me. I'm sorry, Jess, I'm so sorry. We talked for 2 hours. He told me he'd been going to therapy too, that he'd realized how much he'd enabled my mom's favoritism of Lindsay, that he'd failed me as a father. It didn't fix everything. Years of being the unfavorite don't just disappear, but it was something. He moved out of my parents' house in December, got his own apartment. We started having dinner once a week. My mom sent me a Christmas card with a note. You've torn this family apart. I hope you're happy. I threw it away. Lindsay tried to contact me in February 2024 through a mutual friend. The friend said Lindsay wanted to apologize and move past this. I told the friend that if Lindsay wanted to apologize, she could wait until the restraining order expired in January 2026, and even then, I'd probably say no thanks. Devon got out on parole in April 2024 after serving 13 months. I got an alert from Victim Services. He moved to North Carolina to live with his brother. I never heard from him again. The restraining order against Lindsay expires in 2 months, January 2026. She can contact me legally starting January 10th. She's already tried twice through other people. First the mutual friend, then my cousin Brittany, both asking if I'd be willing to talk things out once the order expires. My answer is no. People keep asking me if I'll ever forgive her, if family is worth holding a grudge over. Here's what I tell them. Lindsay didn't make one mistake. She made a series of calculated decisions that put my safety, my home, and my financial security at risk. She did it knowing I'd explicitly told her not to. She did it even after I filed a police report. She coached Devon on how to avoid getting caught. She gave him a second key after I'd changed my locks specifically to keep him out. And when it all blew up, when my kitchen was destroyed, when there was meth contamination in my house, when I was facing $60,000 in damages, she didn't apologize. She played victim. She got my entire family to turn against me. She called me selfish for not wanting my abusive ex living in my house rent-free. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern of behavior. That's who she is. My mom still doesn't speak to me. My Aunt Karen blocked me on everything. Most of my extended family believes Lindsay's version of events, where she was just trying to help someone and I overreacted. Fine. I have my house. I have my job. I have my dad back in my life, sort of. I have real friends like Amber who stood by me. I have a therapist who helped me understand that boundaries aren't cruel, they're necessary. I'm 27 years old. I own my home outright. I refinanced and paid off the mortgage early using money from my promotion and a small inheritance from my grandma who, ironically, left me more than she left Lindsay. The kitchen looks brand new. The security system gives me peace of mind. I've started dating someone who's never even met my family, and I prefer it that way. Sometimes I think about what my mom said. When did you become so hard? I'm not hard. I'm just done setting myself on fire to keep other people warm. The restraining order expires in 2 months. Lindsay has already started telling people she's going to reach out, that she wants to heal our relationship. I've already decided what I'll say when she does. No. Just no. Because I don't owe her forgiveness. I don't owe her a relationship. I don't owe her anything. She made her choices. I'm making mine. And my choice is me.